So I got another scrapyard find here, 3.5 horse Briggs, 1994. It's got the long crankshaft on it there, and I wanted to make a video showing the amount of fun it is to take the crankshaft out of an old lawnmower engine like this. And I'll just show the procedure that I go through, because it's not as simple as a horizontal shaft engine. You have rust on here. A lot of times you have to use a puller to remove the blade mount, and so I'll go through all that. First step, you have to observe what type of blade mount you got on there. There's this circular type. This one's kind of unusual or rare, I don't know, whatever. And then there's also this wing type. It seems to be a bit more common, but you have to figure out what type you got. Now in most cases I have these special bolts. The ones in the end of the crankshaft, they're a 3/8 with fine thread. So I just take one of them and drill not a hole, but start a drill bit into the end there. Basically the purpose of that is to make a indentation for the puller to fit into, so it doesn't try to wander off to the side. So in this case I have two lengths of them. I have a short one and a long one. You know what, this one's just going to need the short one, so I'll use that. And this one, the thread was a bit tight. Sometimes I clean the thread out with a tap, but you want to screw it in there ways. You don't want just one or two turns. Put it in there ways, because you're going to be putting a lot of force on it. Then you select what puller type you need. In this case I'm going to be using this 3-jaw here. I think that'll work the best. If you have this wing type, then perhaps a 2-jaw. I made this 2-jaw puller there. Or I made this other type here that it basically, these two mounts on there like that, and then you just twist the two bolts. So there's no jaws involved or anything. It's just bolts. But that only works on these wing type. It won't work on this type, obviously, because there's nothing to grab. So I'm gonna fasten the 3-jaw on there. There, I got the 3-jaw on there. I've also tightened it up. Nothing seems to be moving, so time to apply some heat to it. Normally they will kind of pop. I'm just heating it up here with a blowtorch, braising fuel. You don't need to get the thing glowing or anything. If you do, you might burn the oil seal out of the motor. But just heat it up to get it to expand away from the shaft. Break the rust loose. Wind blowing's not going to help me with this any. Normally when you do this, try not to burn anything here. When you twist on it now, it'll pop. Well, there, I got her hot and she popped a couple times. Unfortunately I couldn't get it on video because it took 2 hands operating the puller. But if you look close, you can see it's moved 1/16 inch or something, but it's tight. The other thing you can do is spray penetrating oil down in that key slot there. Gotta lube it up. That'll help too. There, after lots of puller bolt twisting there, it actually came off. Now it's still nice and hot. It's just being held on there by the bolt in the end. So sometimes I have to adjust that bolt outwards further or something, depending on the thickness of this and whether it falls off the shaft or not. But that got it. A lot of times though you can't do this without the heat. You'll tighten the puller right up until you're going to try to break something, then you put heat on it and it'll go pop and it'll jump, and then twist the puller up tight again, a little more heat, pop again. Because as you can see, she's plenty rusted there. So 30 years on a lawnmower, subject to grass dampness and all that. So anyway, I'll get that off of there now. Just to demonstrate how this puller works on the two type mount there with the two wings on it. So you just have basically, you know, puller bolts, and you get this guy screwed in there. It doesn't have to have a depression in the center, and then you just go back and forth on them trying to pull evenly. You don't need all this. A flat plate will work, but this just strengthens it so it doesn't bend so much, because again, and you can apply heat to it. You're applying a lot of force though, so I have actually broke pullers doing this. That's why this homemade one here, this plate is so thick, to give it some strength. But if you use the heat, you can, you know, not have to apply so much force to the puller, which helps out. A little bit of grease there and different things. Lubricant will help too. Penetrating oil on the shaft, all that will help out. So I have an observer watching me make this video here. That's my cat, Sassy. She's looking out the window. She's an indoor cat, so she never gets outside. Order of business is to clean the shaft up. Now, I would start off with a wire brush. You know, this one, there's a lot of built up grunge on it there. So anyway, I'm gonna wire brush it here, and whoop, I'm gonna try to roll off of there. That's not good. Anyway, I'm just gonna pull it over here. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Because the key's on this side, so the key's got to come out too. And I gotta go get stuff to do that. Usually just use a punch and a hammer. Just hit on the edge of it there. This is a half moon key, so it's round. So driving it won't help. You got to kind of go under and lift it to get it out of there. There you go. So just by smacking on this edge here, I've lifted it up, and then keep tapping, it'll come out. So there it is. So I wire brushed the shaft. That's as clean as I can get it with a wire brush. So now I'll take a flat file and file it. Don't stay in any one spot too long. You're not trying to file a flat spot in the shaft here. You're just trying to clean the rust off it. So just work your way around. It'll plug up a fine tooth file pretty quick. Anyway, so after we do that, then we take emery cloth or sandpaper to it. You got to get it clean and shiny, because it's got to slide through that bushing, which is tight clearance there in the end cover. Okay, so I filed all the way around the shaft there. Now it's time for the emery cloth or sandpaper. Just loop it around like that. Now you need two hands for this. I can't hold the camera, but anyway, you know, just go like that. Again, the object isn't to, you know, file the shaft down to nothing. It's just to clean it up. Now you do want to get right up close to that end cover there and clean it up, because that'll be the tricky part right there to get that off. Anyway, so I'll go sand this down here. Well, there you can see what I've done with the emery cloth. You know, it's pretty shiny. The advantage to emery is that it won't tear apart as easy as sandpaper. When I use sandpaper, I cut a strip, oh, maybe 2 inches wide, and fold it in 2 or 3 across the width to gain some strength to it, and that way I don't tear it as much. But I probably use 150 grit to start or something. You go up to 200. You can bump down, you know, go up to 320 or something if you want later on. It's up to you. Now, hopefully I can take the crankcase cover bolts out. You have to have the oil drained first. Take the crankcase cover bolts out, and then I use a small hammer, and I put some lubrication on the shaft also, just oil or transmission fluid or something, and then I start tapping on these lugs there. So we'll see how that goes. See if I can get any kind of video of this here. Hit the other side. There we go. Grass. So in the grand scheme of things, that one went pretty easy. I've had to do a lot more pounding on them than that. Sometimes well, I think I even broke an ear off a crankcase one time. So that was pretty good. The problem is this rust here. See that line of rust? That's up by the oil seal, and you can't really get at that to sand it down. So you have to, the bushing has to come over it, and it can be a really tight fit. So anyway, amazing how much oil stays in them even after you drain it. I drained this one twice, but cobwebs and stuff there that'll try to fall into the crankcase and all kinds of fun stuff, just like that. So this one has the removable steel gear on the crankshaft there. So anyway, that's the procedure I use for removing the blade mount on the lawnmowers, and then to get the crankcase cover off. A lot of motors I just pull a crankshaft out, like if it's cylinder scored or something. I just save the crankshaft, maybe connecting rod, cam, all that. Do you hear that thing? That's kind of loud for a bicycle, isn't it? Yeah, that's a bicycle, believe it or not. Doesn't sound like stock exhaust to me. But anyway, yeah, it's nice weather here. I see my flowers are starting to come up here, but when you get a squirrel transplanted tulip there, that was not there last year. But and the daffodils are just about up. But anyway, so best of luck if you try to remove a lawnmower blade, or the blade mount from a lawnmower engine. So hopefully these techniques will help you out.